it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new tutorial. And today I'm going to be sharing with you some inspiration using the new Good Vibes release collection from Simon Says Stamp. One of the new products in the release is the gorgeous DEBRA die, which is a background die perfect for cutting out and creating detailed and intricate backgrounds. But I wanted to show you how you can use it with the Go Press and Foil machine from Couture Creations to create a stunning foil design for your projects. I've got the Go Press and Foil machine on my desk right now, and I've turned on the machine to get it heating up and ready to do some foiling. You're going to want to take the DEBRA die, or whatever die you want to use for this technique, and stick it inside the Go Press and Foil machine to start heating up the die. The die needs to be hot to be able to transfer the foil. I'm going to be using some gold Couture Creations foils and some Nina Desert Storm cardstock. This technique does require you to use the Couture Creations Go Press and foils because these foils are a different type of foil than other foils on the market. I'm going to lay that foil face down onto the DEBRA die, which is now completely heated up, and you can see that it's ready by the green light on your machine. I'm also going to add a few cardstock shims on top of the Desert Storm cardstock that I've laid on top of the foil. I'll turn my machine off and take the platform out and bring it over to my die cutting machine to run through a couple times, giving the machine a chance to impress that die into the foil and cardstock. After I've run it through a couple times, I'll bring the platform out and take my cardstock out of the platform, removing the foil to reveal the stunning detailed design that's left behind. Now, depending on how many shims you had in your Go Press and Foil machine, you may have some areas of foil transfer where you don't want them. By using the Tumble Mono Sand Eraser, I can run over those areas and quickly clean up any foil that might have gotten left behind. Because the die didn't press that foil into the paper, it's really just kind of sitting on top of the cardstock. So now you can see from this detailed close-up shot of the gorgeous detail that we have from the Go Press and Foil machine and that beautiful DEBRA die. I also created another card using the DEBRA die. I foiled this onto some blue cardstock, and I have that silver foil now giving me a gorgeous contrast off of there. I also added some pretty letters from the Everett Alphabet die set, which is also part of the new Good Vibes release. Moving on to finishing up the card that I'm working on today, I'm going to bring in this pretty little print from Suzy's Good Vibes release collection of watercolor prints. This was also released in the new Good Vibes Simon release. I'm going to watercolor her with some of my Prima watercolors. Now, when I was coloring this girl, I wanted to add some shading to her. So one of my favorite ways to do this is to take a flat wash of color and add that over top of the image. Just basically adding down a flat wash, and that's going to give me a base to start with. By using this as the base, this allows me to then go back in with additional watercolors in different shades or even the same hue and be able to achieve some dimension. This is where I'm bringing in that shading, and I'm going to add that shading in the areas where I want it to be the darkest. I'm not going to blend this out too much, and when I'm using my watercolors here, I'm using very little water. I'm using more pigment than I am water because I don't want to water down the pigment and get something a little bit too light. I want these to have that intense, beautiful finish. Now, if you do have areas that you want to have blended out a little bit and not quite so hard, you can use a slightly damp brush to go ahead and blend those out. Just remember that the more water you use, the more watered down you'll end up having your colors be. In some areas, I did go back in with a third layer of color. There's no limit to how many color layers you can add on top of your watercolors. Just make sure that when you're doing this, you're using colors that are like colors. You don't want to layer contrasting colors and then have them create muddy areas. Once I finish up watercoloring the girl, I am going to bring in my fine tip scissors and fussy cut her out. Now, you don't have to fussy cut these images out of these Suzy's watercolor designs. These are actually made so that you can go ahead and just color them and pop them onto a card very simply and create some really cute designs. And they're perfect for sending out to friends and family. I like going ahead and fussy cutting them though and adding them onto other cards that I make just for something a little bit different. Now, with some black and white gel pens, I will add a little bit of detail to some of the different areas of the flower and the girl. The new Big Friend word die is one of my new favorite word dies from Simon Says Stamp. And I die cut this from both some dark pink Lawn Fawn cardstock and some ivory white cardstock. After I've glued these pieces together, the actual word of friend and also then the outline, I'll take some foam tape and add this to the back side of my die cut word. The right hand side of the word is going to have 2 layers of foam tape because the girl I had ended up popping up off of my card panel. So to make everything even, I did add a second layer on the right hand side of the word friend. I'm bringing in the Mom's CLEMATIS stamp set to stamp a supporting sentiment to go underneath of the word friend. I really liked the encouraging words in this sentiment, and I thought it paired up really nicely with this friend die, even though that the stamp set was a Mother's Day set. I am going to finish up the card by using a few Simon Says Stamp sequin mixes and sprinkle those around the girl. I also added some Morning Dew Nouveau drops over top of those sequins for a dimensional appearance. I love how these products work together in creating this really adorable friendship card, and I hope that it has inspired you to try doing that foiling technique with the Go Press and Foil machine, because there's a lot of really fun ways you can use your dies with the Couture Creations foils to create some intricate, stunning designs. I also created a few other cards using the new Good Vibes release. This particular card here is one of my favorites because it features 2 of the new dies that I created for this Good Vibes release. One is the Good Vibes sentiment die there along the top of the card, and then that adorable little bicycle was another die that I created for the release, and this was really fun to be able to use together. For a fun scene card, I also used the Simon Says Stamp Summer Cuddly Critters stamp set, and I created this fun beachy scene of these little adorable animals swimming together in the ocean. You can find more information on all of these cards if you go ahead and visit my blog. I have links down below in the video description, and you can also stop by my blog to get more information on the Good Vibes release blog hop. There's a coupon code and also some giveaway information. So I hope you'll stop by and visit me. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will be back again very soon with more inspiration for you. And until then, have a fabulous day.